Wawas have been closing all around Philly for the past couple of years. Now, Sheetz, also a chain of 24/7 convenience stores and gas stations, wants to expand in the area. So, why are Wawas shutting down stores? Has the quality of the Wawa hoagie gone downhill? Why do some Wawa stores need hired security and others are a place where everyone knows your name? I'm talking with Philly Voice senior reporter Michael Tanenbaum about the Wawa exodus from Philly and whether other chains can win Philadelphians over. It's Tuesday, February 17th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and we're talking Wawa. So, Michael, you grew up with Wawas in your life. What is your Wawa order?
I mean, it's evolved over the years. I would say there was a period, probably when I was a teenager, I was working a job at the Willow Grove Mall, and I would get off, and I would always just like get a ham on rye sandwich with whatever on it, some mustard or anything like that. And they got to know me, and the guy behind the counter would always call me Ham on Rye. It was just like the name of a book. So, yeah, I mean, I think I got that. Meatball subs, always a classic. The old school Sizzlies were always, a fail-safe. Now I pretty much just get coffee there. French vanilla, maybe mix in whatever their seasonal, coffee is. And I like their chicken Caesar wrap. It's pretty good.
Me too. That's one of my favorites. That and I'm a turkey and provolone type of person on a shorty.
Yeah, that's always a good call. I don't use like the deli counter as much as I used to. I kind of just go for their, ready to order stuff, but like I'm very particular. Like I'll like inspect them to see like it's got the nice like Caesar ratio on it. Probably look like a freak in there.
Well, yeah, like Wawa's over the years, they've experimented with different foods and offerings. It's been around for a while. It's a regional favorite. But why are we actually losing this beloved chain in the Philly city limits? Why are Wawa's disappearing?
I mean, I think it didn't work very well in Center City for a variety of reasons. I think that anytime you have a kind of convenience store where people flock, in an urban core, you're going to get all of the issues that are attendant with that. So, shoplifting, loitering, crowds that are, kind of difficult to manage. I think that they just probably opened too many stores, and there are probably for a lot of people better alternatives for lunch and other places like that in Center City where they can go to eat. So I don't think it was filling the role of convenience as much as it's designed to do elsewhere. I think it felt more like a headache for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And kind of watered down the Wawa experience, I think, for a lot of people. At least that's my experience. It's night and day going to a Wawa in Montgomery County or Bucks County or wherever versus going like on Aramingo Avenue in Fishtown.
Yeah, I grew up in Delaware County, and we just walked to the Wawa sometimes, or we would pull up. But it definitely felt different because maybe there was because it was a parking lot in a county Wawa, and there's not like a parking lot in the Wawa like downtown. But how many Wawas have left Philly in the past few years?
Probably about 12, I think, was the number. Since about the pandemic. I mean, like that's the other huge reason. I mean, I guess it was given as a larger rationale for a lot of businesses that have suffered with foot traffic declining. I mean, that's another thing. But yeah, I think 12 is the count, and they're all mostly, I would say, places that were in the core of Center City. Some maybe as far as South Street or so. I think there's one down there that closed. And there have been some others. There was one in Port Richmond. There are a handful that just didn't work. And it felt a bit surprising, the turnaround for some that opened. I think the main one that closed was
the Walnut.
Broad and Walnut, yeah.
Yep.
And there were some problems there, too. I think it took forever to get an order. Even the benefit of, like, going to the free, like, no surcharge ATM. It felt like you'd wait in line forever for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think that the experience at the Wawas in Center City was all that good.
But you have reported that, Wawa, experimented over the years. They tried the virtual shopping option where basically everything was just like a kiosk and you would just order whatever you want, even like to your Gatorades or something. This location closed in late January. Then a couple years ago, there was a tiny location in Center City that was testing out if smaller locations could be financially viable. That one also closed. So why aren't these like new business models working, keeping the Wawas smaller?
I think that they were all reactions to the same kinds of problems that Wawa was encountering when they first moved in. I
Okay.
think that they were just trying anything because they, invested in seeing what could, if anything, work very well in the city, and we have that density. The shelfless one, I don't know really why they did that. Maybe it had something to do with a lease. It seemed kind of bizarre. The few times that I went in there, and I used to go to it when I was in University City, before it was that way, and it was, it was crowded there too. It was just surreal walking in there and being in like an empty space. I just don't think that's what people want.
Yeah.
Um,
Wawa is like driving there, like I said, or like the kids ride their bikes and throw them like by the door. You go in there, you go to the kiosk, you order your hoagie, or you go to the refrigerator, get your Wawa juice, or you're like needing that coffee, you go right to the coffee station, get that French vanilla in there. That's the Wawa experience that we kind of all regionally know, not like a smaller high tech Wawa.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they tried some drive-throughs in South Jersey, and I think one in Bucks County too that didn't work very well there. I think that because this is their home market, they feel more comfortable testing out ideas,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not concerned about, and they have so much market penetration already that it makes sense for them to see what will work and what sticks, what doesn't. Um, and yeah, there is something to that. I mean, I think the same thing about like 7-Eleven before Wawa became, what it was. If I go back to like the mid late 90s, 7-Eleven had that reputation,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe not that kind of made to order deli counter type of thing. And then Wawa was like a revelation for people for having those things. I think that there's something, about the kind of quintessential Wawa experience that gets lost when, they try to toy with things.
But you know what? The Wawa on 6th and Chestnut, like right
Yeah.
near Independence Hall, that Wawa, if you ever go into that one, it has a lot of space where like some neighborhood Wawas, like in the counties, are smaller, like smaller aisles. But that Wawa down there has a lot of space. And I think at one point they also changed the layout and they actually had like seating inside. I've been to a Wawa in, I want to say it's close to maybe Abington. And they also had seating. I went to a Wawa in Florida. They had seating and they were selling beer. So Wawa definitely has experimented, like we said, and things do work, but it seems like certain things just don't work in Philly.
It would be interesting to have a conversation with them about their strategy for moving into Center City, because it seemed they were so bullish on it, and for it to
Mm-hmm.
be such a quick turnaround. I don't know that it says something about Center City. I mean, they've opened in other urban cores too. I think at least the last I checked, I'd been there. In DC, they opened a pretty central Wawa there. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just,
Maybe it's not Wawa's fault, but it's it's Philly's fault.
yeah, or just cities in general. I mean, I think it kind of, you want a place like that to feel kind of pristine, and instead you're confronted with the realities of a big city and its problems. And I think that it's one thing if you have one store. It's if you got 10 of them, and they're all kind of getting picked clean by people coming in, and you don't have great security, or you don't pay for great security. I mean, it's not just a Wawa thing. I mean, Macy's leaving, It's just it's a larger problem, I think, that cities face and businesses face. And do I think that they could have stood to keep one or two of them and really put? I mean, I think they still have one by Jefferson Hospital, and that underwent a period of closure too. So like they tried shortening out. I don't think it was for a lack of trying. I think that they tried shortening hours, and doing some things to make it more feasible. But for whatever reason, they just pulled the plug. I don't think that they felt like it was viable moving forward.
So while this is like happening in Philly, the company as a whole isn't struggling. There's over 1,000 Wawa locations on the East Coast, all the way down to Florida. Um, and back in 2022, they announced that they would open 40 stores across Central PA, but not in Philly.
Right.
And we didn't even talk about Wawa and gas stations. Like to me, that's a good Wawa. If I can find a Wawa that has a gas station, I'm there.
I feel like that's all you're going to find going forward. I mean, the old Wawa stores, I guess you could call them like their legacy store models, like they're disappearing like one by one in South Jersey.
Right, and those were like the smaller ones without the gas stations.
Yeah, and they have like a very distinct design. It's actually funny now. It's like you see places and businesses that have moved into them, and it still looks like a Wawa, but it's like not a Wawa. It's the same thing with like Pizza Hut, like those old stores. But yeah, I think that they're only really concentrated on building gas stations for the most part. It's a huge convenience. I mean, like that's their whole thing. I mean, it's making everything easy for you in a comforting way that kind of brings people relief. To have an easy way to get food, get gas, like not worry about it, don't pay too much, go home.
Michael, do you think people still love the brand of Wawa?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I think with anything that there's like fatigue with brands and it gets kind of oversaturated, and then you compare that with quality and then you get nostalgic. It's like a band that's been around for like 30 years and like, like maybe what they're putting out kind of sucks now, but like it's still like they're still that band,
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely do think that people still love Wawa. If they didn't, they wouldn't still be like there 5 times a week. I mean, like I think people grumble about it and like they change what they'll buy there, but like they have a pretty good rewards program. It's easy to it's like it's just easy to get something that doesn't cost too much, and their food is what it is. I think they could be better. Definitely. I think the deli counter changes over the years with the rolls and like, just how things, it's like, I don't know, maybe they've rested on their laurels a little bit in this area. I mean, I think it's interesting to think one thing that would be kind of cool to look at, and I'm sure they're doing their own research, is like all these new states where they're opening. I really wonder what the reaction is among people there, if they're just like losing their minds over how great this place is, and like they don't have that frame of reference, or the quality that you're seeing in those stores is maybe better than what you have here, where there's just Wawa everywhere. Maybe the labor market affects that a little bit. So I don't think that the brand has like lost its sheen here. I think it's part of the whole like kind of vainglory of this region. It's a claim to fame on some level. So no, I mean, I think it's like that whole thing with like when Gritty was announced and everybody hated him, and then every Philly was like, he's revolting but he's ours kind of thing. Like I think people would still go to bat for Wawa, but yeah, I mean, I think there's some criticism that's warranted as far as how it compares to what it was. For me, like growing up, it was like the Sizzlies was like, that was like the core.
Yeah, that was like the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, I haven't had one in a while. I don't know if it's like sometimes when you're nostalgic about
it's a little greasy. I'm not going to, a little greasy, but it could be because we're older. Yeah. We're sensitive to that now.
I think that's a real thing too. I mean, I think people still love it, and I think the evidence is that people still go all the time, and like it fills a very important role. I think the question more is like, if you suddenly didn't have Wawa, like I think a lot of people would be like, I don't know what I'm gonna have on a Tuesday night or on a Saturday morning when it's rainy and I don't have great plans. I think that the region would be missing out on a lot if it didn't have it. And I don't know what the immediate replacement for that would be. So it's always good to kind of look at things like, I guess if you didn't have something, where would you be?
Now that's valid. If you're still looking for the perfect winter night out, now is your chance to check out Independence Blue Cross River Rink Winterfest on the Delaware River waterfront. For a limited time, enjoy 30% off fire pits and cozy cabin rentals Monday through Thursday. That means warm fires, twinkling lights, ice skating under the stars, and your own private space, all for less. With the Ben Franklin Bridge lighting up the night sky behind you, it's perfect for those midweek date nights. Hang out with friends or one last family winter memory before the season ends. But you have to act fast. Winterfest closes March 1st. Reserve your skating tickets, fire pits, and cabins now at riverrink.com. Let's get into this other company, a longtime rival, Sheetz. Sheetz is very similar to Wawa. They have the ready-to-go foods. They have gas. They've got drinks. They've got snacks. They got it all. They've got merch, too. I've been to a Sheetz, and I was like, oh, my God, Sheetz. This is what everyone's talking about. It was very clean. I only got snacks. I didn't get any hot food, but I did get some snacks. I was like, okay, I could see how this is like a Wawa. This is like I said, a long time rival. It dominates in the western part of Pennsylvania. We've done a whole episode about just the rivalry on CityCast Philly with our sister podcast, CityCast Pittsburgh. But Sheetz is expanding across the state and to other states in recent years. With Wawas disappearing, Michael, in Philly, it seems like Sheetz is starting to creep into the southeastern territory of PA.
They do seem to be, yeah. I mean, I would caution the same thing. I mean, until I see that they actually are opening a place in Philadelphia, like core Philadelphia, I think that they have at least two planned. One just opened this month in Limerick in Montgomery County, right across from a Wawa. So I do think that they see it as a chance to kind of just dip their toes in the water, test the appetite in this region for something different, kind of peck away at Wawa's supremacy here, so to speak. And I mean, I think they'll attract people driving by because why not? It's something different. And I think they have a lot of similar things to offer, but that's a different brand. I mean, it's the brand that differentiates, and I think people will be tempted to give it a try.
Is Sheetz doing anything special that would woo a loyal Wawa customers? Because once the gobbler comes out, I'm ready. I'm right there.
I mean, like Wawa, they always have this opening day promotions, which that's already passed. I mean, in the article that I wrote, the idea was that maybe they would kind of trim their gas prices by just enough to get people willing to turn in there as opposed to turn into a Wawa. I think gas, from talking to an economics professor at Temple, he seemed to think that there is a legitimate chance, and you do kind of see this when gas stations open up nearby competitors, is that they'll try to undercut. And in the convenience sector, gas is not necessarily the biggest driver of their profits. So if you can get somebody in there just to get gas, then whatever, they're going to go and try what you have inside the store. I can't imagine somebody would go to Sheetz, get gas, and then be like, all right, I'm going to go across the street now to Wawa and but maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
I'm sure there is somebody who would do that out there, but I mean, I think that that's a good strategy, at least in the short term. So, I mean, in the long run, I don't know. the other thing to consider is that all these places are being built as gas stations, and I don't know what the timeline is necessarily for electric vehicles to be adopted more broadly across the public, but like they'll have to
That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
Transition them in some way to accommodate charging. I mean, and then you really have a social club where people could be hanging out with their cars plugged in and getting whatever they need from the store.
And Wawa is doing that, especially right by the Wawa when you're about to go to either the airport or into South Philly, like off of 76. But Michael, the question is, can Sheetz do that ham and rye for you?
I don't know. I tried Sheetz a couple times during road trips. I think I went to the one in Altoona, which is where they're based. And they had a really good breakfast sandwich. Like, I was impressed. Now, some of that might have just been like being on the road and having something different, and like kind of the state of mind, which I think is like no small part in like why people think something is good. The taste is one thing, but I think the experience is definitely a big part. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully they have a good ham and rye. I would maybe that's my first try there when I go out.
Is there anything that Sheetz could do that would get you to choose it over Wawa?
Could they do anything? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they would just need to be like pretty ubiquitous, and I'd need to be like seeing them all over the place, and like, because I don't know that I would like more than once go out of my way to go to a Sheetz, but maybe I would. Wawa's been around long enough that like I honestly would go out of my way to go to a Wawa, or like worse, like deal with the annoyances at the one that's closest to me now, on Aramingo, which is like that place is crazy. It's truly crazy. I think everybody knows that, and yet everybody endures, the experience there just to have Wawa. So it says something.
The closest Wawa to me is in Roxborough, and the Wawas that used to be downtown, I was like, oh, you need security here. Like, that is a different experience than what I grew up to know Wawa as. Like, you just walk in there, the person behind either the deli counter or at the cash register, they're going to say hi to you. They probably know your mom or your dad.
Yeah.
That's the experience I knew. Not like this kind of level of like, oh, it's do you think I'm gonna steal type of vibe? But we like that Wawa is very close to Roxborough High School, and so sometimes I see like the high school students, like, I'll say, having conversations with the security. So it's a different dynamic. You do have like the typical like Wawa tropes of like, the construction workers, the moms with their kids, and late night, drunkenness.
Yeah.
but it feels different than like the Wawa brand that I knew to grow up and love, as this like smaller neighborhood place you just drive up to. You get like your sandwiches, your coffees, and like some donuts. The bakery, I think the bakery options changed as well, like when they start packaging the donuts individually, because back in the day, I think this is like before COVID, you could just like pull out the tray and grab your like glazed donut or your bow tie or whatever, and then just go.
I like the Christmas tree one. That's a good one.
Yes. The pretzels as well, they have changed over the years. They started getting like fatter, like smaller.
Yeah, they again, like I don't know if this is a real economics word, so it's not a bad word. It's enshittification, right? Like that's like a real thing. Like yeah, it's happening everywhere. I mean, it's not a good time to be a consumer in a lot of ways, and yet it is. Like it's you have everything available, and yet you get slightly worse quality going along with inflation, and I think it's overall just sucks that everything good kind of suffers in some way. But I mean, I had the same experience when I was talking about the ham and rye guy. Like that dude's name was James, and he was my guy. Like he made my sandwiches, like, and because I went in all the time, he like gave me extra meat even when I didn't ask for extra meat, because he knew me and we had a friendship. But like even I don't know where James is, wherever he is. I love you, man. But the other guy, Don, who's been like the catch, like everybody who goes to Jenkintown Wawa knows Don. Don is like a poet. He's just like says like all the like general like clerk things. He's a good guy. And like even 15 years, I don't live in the suburbs anymore. But like when I go out there to see family or whatever, and I go into that Wawa, like it's Don is still there and he still knows who I am. I've known that dude for like 20 years.
When I go to a Jersey Wawa or like a Florida Wawa, I feel like, oh, wow, look at Wawa. Wawa grew up. But what I kind of hear in our conversation is that, at the end of the day, Wawa still, no matter if it got corporate on us, if it, is still in our neighborhood, it still builds community in a certain way. And I don't know if Sheetz does that or will do that. I know that it has brand loyalty, but that community part that you mentioned, the James, the Dons, those special relationships and bonds that we end up making very organically. I'm not sure if we're gonna get that with Sheetz. I'm not sure.
I think that for Sheetz, this is a good way for them to test their products offerings and just be like in a place where we know that the public is biased toward Wawa. What are the things that we do that make them come to us? And they can kind of look over that data and be like, all right, well, this sandwich does really well, and they can compare that to where they do well elsewhere. I mean, Sheetz is used to competition from other places. Like when I am out in like Central PA for one reason or another, like, um, they have Rudders out there, they have other places, so, but I don't know as far and like I guess Royal Farms another one that's kind of shown up more and more, but I think that Sheetz has the right idea, just kind of having some presence here and seeing how people respond, I mean I do think it's like any I think the quality of the experience there kind of will come down to like how happy are people to be working there and the environment and how do Wawa and Sheetz compare as places to work.
Was there anything else that you wanted to mention about Wawa that we didn't get to? I also want to shout out the $5 breakfast deal where you can get a sizzly, you can get that coffee, and I think you can get like a hash brown.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Like I don't think anybody should sneeze at that. I do think that Wawa should take notice of the fact that like people do kind of have this sense and like evaluate its core kind of products and especially the deli counter and how that operates, because like when they try to get too cute and we're gonna do pizza for like the 15th time and like it's like, guys, like there's plenty of pizza places, like we
Yeah, well,
don't
yeah.
you know
I did try the pizza when it came out, but it's like I definitely have better pizza at like my neighborhood pizza place. The other one that's really like it blows my mind. I'm like, why are you guys trying to do like Chipotle bowls?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Burritos,
but that's what I'm saying,
too much, too much.
just focus on making good hoagies. Like
Yes, yes.
be a really really good hoagie place, because I don't know, I feel like I think that's what people expect of Wawa more than anything else. It's like it's not like you're going to go there to get a hoagie and it's going to be the best hoagie of your life. It's like you want to be able to expect a solid hoagie from Wawa, and that's the convenience that you get. If I wanted a better one, I might go to wherever, uh, name any hoagie place in Philly that's like, a family owned restaurant. But I think that should be more Wawa's focus is figuring out how to, make sure that they're consistent with something that like people originally identified as like the main reason. Like, wow, I can go to this place that's like quick and cheap and easy and get a hoagie.
They should do something about the crackers that like are always at the bottom of where you can get like forks and spoons. Why are those crackers still there? And I'm like, how long have they been there? And why are they there still?
That's a good point.
I know they're supposed to go with like your chicken noodle soup or like the corn chowder, which is good too. But like, put the crackers somewhere else or something. I don't know why they're at the bottom on the floor.
Yeah, that's a weird spot for them. Definitely. I mean, as far as like other Wawa things, it's like there's that like I know I've been to Wawa too much when like I have like a jacket that smells like Wawa.
Oh yeah, Michael, you gotta chill.
Like I know I don't. Yeah, like I don't. I'm saying that I've moved away from this, but like there was a time in my life where it's like I was there a lot, and like I would be like, because it is a distinct smell, and it's a smell that's like associated with like literally like picking up this bag from. You get that plastic see-through Wawa bag, and it smells like every kind of like homogenous soup or mac and cheese that they make. You walk out of there, you're just like, wow. Like if I run into somebody and they were just at Wawa, I was like, yeah, I know where you were. I know where you're coming from. And it's like then I go because it's like, oh man, like I should stop.
Like now I want a hoagie.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think like people just like seriously underestimate just how much it is a part of this region's, whatever your opinions are now or how it's changed or anything like that. I think that people would like, it would be like, I'm not going to say it would be like the apocalypse if it disappeared, but like, I think if there was an apocalypse, it would be one of the first couple of things I'd be like, damn, like I can't go to Wawa, So like that, I think that's a better way to look at it than just like criticizing. Not to say that they, like I said, that they should make some quality improvements or assessments.
Michael, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation on CityCast Philly.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Trenae. I appreciate it, and appreciate like all the work that you guys do.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Are you pro Wawa or are you pro Sheetz? Let us know by leaving a voicemail at 215-259-8170. If you enjoyed this episode, share this with a friend. Also rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.